Hey everybody! Well, today we're going to take a look at a cool kit that I found on Etsy. This is a 3D printed model of BD-1, the cute little robot that we see in the Star Wars video game called Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I have not played the game, so I'm not familiar with it, but I have seen a lot of clips of the little robot named BD-1, and that's who this is. So, Lego actually made a fantastic set featuring, BD-1, and this looks to be about the same size, but you can see all the parts right here. Now, this is from a seller on Etsy named Shat Prints, like Shat, as in like Shatner, is my guess where she got the name. But Robin is the lady in charge of it, and these are the parts you get. Now, she partially puts together the set. You can buy it this way, where you have just the plain parts, or she'll paint it up for you, or she'll paint it in the traditional white and red. So let's take a look at some of these parts here. Now, this one here, this is the midsection of his body. You'll notice there's a magnet here. That's where the legs are going to connect. There's some pieces that are going to go in here. This is the neck. Now, this is adjustable. You can see how this goes up and down, and then this also pivots. So he's adjustable. It looks like these pieces are separate, but you can glue those. Well, once you put the head on, you won't have to worry about that. So that's what that part looks like. Now, the little sections here are where these pieces go. So these are these nice little, they're very thin. You can see how thin these are. These are where these little greeblies go. You can see all the nice little details on there. This one here is going to go on the back right here. And then you get that off. And then here's the other one. This one goes on, maybe this is the back, and that's going to go right here. So you'll just glue those in after you paint them up. They fit perfect in there. And I'm not at all upset about the fact that she's already put some of this together. I'm fine with that. She did a really good job of cleaning these up and gluing them. This is the legs. Look how good these look. These are really nice. So she's already got the foot attached. Looks like she did some cleanup over here. It looks like the foot pivots here, but it doesn't. It's glued in, and that's probably good because you need to have a good solid footing for BD-1 here. But the knees are adjustable. You can see how his knees bend. That's really cool. And then that's where the magnet is. So let's see, this is his, I think this is the front of him here. So this will go on like this. It just kind of clips in magnetically like that. So you can glue this if you want to, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not. I'll have to see how solid everything is once it's in place. Here's the other leg. You can see it looks just like the other one, and it's also posable. And then this is BD-1's head. Look how nice this looks. You got some really good detail going on here. There's the front of his face. You can paint all of this up. Really nice print job on here. The print lines are pretty minimal, so it looks like she did a higher type of print on these, is my guess. And then that's where you could put lights in this if you want to. I'm not going to light this up, but BD-1 has some very interesting blue lights back here that kind of do a weird fade in and out. And then that's where that attaches to this top post on here. And then this is his little eyebrows, or eyebrow, kind of fits on here like that. So it's very cool. And then, let's see what else. We got the antennas. These are the little antennas that go on the back of his head. So you're going to put those right in here, like this. And this also, see, I'm not sure if these go in a certain way, but these are adjustable too, because his antennas move back and forth on his head. So that looks really good. And then also for his little eyes right here, she gives you a couple pieces of these mirrors. I guess they're kind of like little discs, but they're mirrors. And you can insert those into there. Unless you decide to put a blue light in there, you could do that if you want as well. But I think I'll go and use these pieces. I'm going to try to build it the way it was designed. So it should be pretty fun. So I'm going to have to try to get a base coat of white on him, because he's mostly white, and then he's got some red trim and then some silver bits here and there. Okay, so I've got everything painted white now. This turned out really nice. Looks really good. The legs. I will say that Robin did a really good job cleaning these up. I mean, she took all the flash off, any kind of weird, like residue or whatever was on here. It all turned out really good, and because it was printed in black, it kind of allows for a little bit of a pre-shading, because I am going to probably put a little bit of a wash on these parts because, you know, everything in the Star Wars world is dirty. And I'll have to go back and see how dirty BD-1 is. I'm not really sure. I don't think he's like super dirty, but all these came out really good. I think I put about 2 or 3 coats on here. Well, these pieces are hard to pick up, but these worked really well with the pre-shading because it brings out the vents. Here's his head. See how that looks. So it looks really good. I'm really pleased with the way these parts look. So for the paint, I just use this. I went to the hobby shop and they're always out of paint when I go down there. And so they had no Tamiya white. So I bought this. This is the only white paint I could find. It's the Army Painter Color Primer. I've never used this before, but it's just a primer, and it actually worked really well, and it dries really quick, because I told the guy, I said, I like Tamiya because it dries really fast, and this does dry quick. So I'm happy with that, and even though it's a primer, it's fine, because I was probably thinking of using a primer anyway, because it tends to, you get more for the cost. And for large pieces like this, I don't usually try to use Krylon or, well, Krylon's fine, but the Rust-Oleum is the one I never liked, because it takes like a week for the stuff to dry. I've heard that they've gotten better about that, so maybe I'll try it one time, but for now, I'm using that. All right, well, that's good so far. I think I'm just going to start getting ready to start painting all the, the little red areas and stuff like that. All right, so I've got all the red areas painted now. So looking at the legs here, we can see how this works. Now this isn't an exact accurate kit, because the red part here should actually stick up higher. Instead it's kind of flush here, so there's some details that aren't quite right on this. I think one of these is supposed to be kind of split, one of those details. Well, they're both kind of the same on this one. And then another thing is that you'll notice that there is some holes right there and holes right here. And that's for those wires to go in, because BD-1 has some wires that stick out of his legs, but they don't stick out of the outside of his legs, they stick out of the inside back here. So I'm going to fill those holes in and just paint over those with some red. And then I'm just going to use a pin vise, where is it? Right there. I'm just going to drill some holes into the back of his legs and figure out where those wires go and just put them in there to make it look more accurate. I think I'll also do a dry silver dry brushing on these details on here just to kind of bring those out a little bit more. But here's the other leg right there. And then here's his little eyebrow. Got this all painted up. I think this thing here is supposed to be gray or silver. I'm not sure which. And then here's his midsection. Just masked off some of these areas. His midsection only has red on the front right there in the back. And then here's his head. Try to grip this okay, because I'm not sure all the paint's completely dry here, but you can see I did all the striping on here. And different pictures of BD-1, he looks a little bit different in each picture, and even in the video game, he doesn't always look the same in some aspects of the paint job. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Like in one scene, there's a dark gray area right up here, and it only goes as far as about where the tape is, but then on another one, it goes over the side on this side and not on that side. So I'm not really sure which is more accurate. Here's his eye, and then here's the other side right here. Like I said, I don't want to grip this just right because the paint might still be wet, but here we can see how all of that looks, and he's got these kind of stripes on the side here. The paint's kind of shiny, but once I give it a dull coat, it won't look like that anymore, and it should blend in a little bit better too. All right, well, I guess I'm going to start working on some of the silver areas and some of the other details. Okay, I think I am finally done painting. There was a lot more painting on this than I thought there was going to be. So I went ahead and took the masking tape off of this. It looks really good. Here's this headpiece, or his little brow piece. That looks really nice as well. That turned out good. I went ahead and just painted these gunmetal. I tried to make them look a little rough there. And then the legs are all finished here. So I got all the silver done on here. Some really fine painting just to make sure you get in the lines and everything. Went ahead and filled those holes, and then I put some new ones back here. I'll put the wires right in there. I think I'll do that silver dry brushing on here. And there's the other leg. And then here's the head. The head had a lot of painting on it. So I went ahead and went with this dark gray that has, it only goes up to here and then it goes over this edge, because that seems to be the way it looked in the video game. So that's how I did that one. And then he had a light kind of gray back here. Like I said, this wasn't quite accurate. It almost looks like this whole thing. See how this indents right here? It looks like this whole area was like that in the video game. But the kit's not exactly perfect as far as accuracy, but that's okay. So there's some silver in there. Went ahead and made that a dark gray. The eyes here, I managed to find this dome. It was actually a part of another model, and it happened to just about fit in there. I just had to sand down the edges and went ahead and put it in there, and that works great as a lens in there. So that worked out perfect. And then one of the mirrors that comes with this kit, I painted it blue to give it that nice kind of blue iridescent look. So it looks like maybe there's a light in there. So that's good. And then for the back here, what I'm going to do is I found these Lego pieces right here, and they're the 1x1 discs or tiles. And I didn't have quite enough of the dark blue or light blue, so I took a bunch of clear ones and painted them blue. And I'll use those in there, and I'm just going to glue them on here. So I'll have 2 here, and then a row of 11 going across this way, and a row of 10 going that way. And I think that'll kind of give the representation of the lights. I think that'll be just fine. And that should look pretty good under there. There's that darker gray area. All right, so I think I can put everything together, and then I'm going to start weathering them up a little bit. And then hopefully I'll be done pretty soon, because I've been working on this for days. Okay, here he is, all finished now. Wow, ooh, this thing looks so cool. This is a really nice model of BD-1. I am very, very impressed with this. So here he is all finished now. I did do a few modifications on this, but not much. I mean, for the most part, everything went together just fine. I mean, the parts fit really good. And as I mentioned, Robin is the girl who sells these. She had already pre-built most of it. So you just have mainly the main parts to put together. So the painting is up to you, but she'll paint them for you as well if you want. But I really love the way this turned out. I'm particularly proud of the weathering on this. I really worked hard on the weathering to make it look like he's, you know, got some wear and tear on him. And he looks so good. And he's about the same size as the Lego one. I'll bring the Lego one out too so we can kind of compare the size. This is really cool. Oh God, I love this little guy. All right, let's get some close-ups. I want to show you all the cool details. Okay, so let's start with the head. Here is the front part of his face. So as I mentioned, I found this lens. It was an extra piece of a model kit that I had laying around, and I'm really glad that I had that, because it looks much better to have some kind of a lens in there, because as it is, there is no lens in there. You're supposed to put a piece of mirror in there like this one. And the mirror works fine with this, but I think another lens would have been okay, but I only had that one piece. But it still looks okay with the blue inside there. Here you can see all the weathering that was on here. There's the underside. This neck section here, I wish it was a little stronger because his head tends to fall down. It's really loose. I have to have it kind of in this upward position to keep it from falling. And I'll show you what I mean here a little bit later, but we can see all this nice detailing on here. That's his chest detail. Try to make everything look, you know, all weather beaten like everything does in the Star Wars world. Show some paint scratches on the corners where you'd see wear and tear. That's the wires that I had to redo. And I'm really glad I changed those because it didn't look right out here. They're supposed to be on the inside like that. And I had to cut them down a little bit, but that's fine. I'd rather have too much wire than not enough. Just kind of stuck them in there and kind of figure out where to go. I kind of went with these two little squares, and that way I can just kind of figure it out from there. Really love the dirt on the feet. Look how good that looks. I love how I just used a wash. I took 1 drop of craft acrylic black paint, put it in one of those little painter's palettes, and filled it with water and just mixed it up, and it makes a really nice wash. Here you can see I tried to put some scratches on the red. Here's the silver here. Same with this going on here. Very cool. He's got a lot of detail on him that you wouldn't really expect because he moves around kind of quick in the game. You can see some paint scratches going on there. I tried to make it look like the red got scratched a little bit. Love these detail pieces. Very, very cool. BD-1's such a cute little robot. If you've seen the game, if you go on here on YouTube, there's somebody put a video of all his cutest moments, and he's so cute. He's like a little dog or a cat. I mean, he's just really adorable. just think he's really cute. So that was the appeal for me for this guy, but you know how I like robots anyway. Here's that nice detailing going on right there. Very, very cool. So I really love this thing. Let me show you the top of the head here. So I went ahead, like I said, with the kind of design that it looks like he has for the most part in the game. So I just masked all that off. These are all those Lego pieces. These work really well for these lights because BD-1 has kind of these weird lights. Sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're green. They change different colors, but thankfully I had enough of these pieces laying around that I could use them. And then after I did the weathering, I just put a couple of coats of dull coat, and that takes down the shine and it makes the paint and everything, you know, set, so you don't have to worry about it rubbing off. But yeah, this is cool. I just love him. Now here we can see the Lego one here on this side. They're about the same size, I would say. I'm not sure if this is full size or not. I was trying to look at the video game, and I think BD-1 is a little bit bigger than this in the game, but he is a little guy. He's a very small robot. But see how I used the same technique here? It was the only thing I could think of to represent those lights, because they are kind of interesting. If you watch footage of them, or if you played the game, you know what I mean about how those lights look. Lego actually did a really good job. I mean, look at they got a lot of the details correct on this. So they did a good job with this BD-1 set. And it's still available too. If you want to build the BD-1 from Lego, you can still get this set, and it's a really fun set to put together. I did a review on this a while back, but I wanted an actual model of one, and when I saw this on Etsy, this guy, I just thought, man, that is a nice looking model. It looks really good. I gotta say, a lot of sellers on Etsy are selling some really cool 3D stuff, 3D printed stuff. And I wish I had the facilities to have my own 3D printer, because I'd be making so much stuff I would have no time to do anything else. But I'm very impressed with the quality that some people are putting out with this stuff. So going back to the model now, this BD-1 does have a few moving parts. So the legs can pivot at the knees like this on both sides, like that. And then you can also pivot them up here, but I smushed these in here so tight that they're not going to move, and I don't really want to be dragging it around there because of the painted surfaces in there. So I just mostly stick with the knees, and you can kind of center his feet for that. And then his head can turn, if you don't glue it down, you can turn his head like this. And then also it's posable like, you know, up and down like this, because there's a pivot right here, but also it's got a... where is it? It's got this little thing right here. So his neck, let me get my hand under here. You can see how you can kind of move it forward a little bit, or you can move it back like this. See how that's kind of, so you can make his head even lower if you want. Kind of make the center of gravity, but I kind of like his head to be up a little bit. So you just kind of move his neck up like that. Now, as I was saying, the pivot for the neck is a little weak. See how, see how his head won't stay up? You almost have to have it kind of up high, but once it hits a certain point, it just drops. So I do wish that was a little bit tighter in there. I suppose you could probably do something to squeeze that together and make it tighter, or even wedge some kind of like cardstock or something in there. But it's not a big deal. You know, I mean, right now he's actually looking straight out, and that's kind of how I want him to look, and that's fine. And if you want, you can just glue the whole thing. You don't have to worry about anything moving. But see, there he goes. But he's very cool. I mean, I still like him, and I like that there is some articulation on there if you don't glue everything together. I forgot to mention that you can also turn the antennas, because this also has a pivot point on it too. So you can turn these and angle them whichever way you want on both sides. I usually leave them about right here because that's what he normally looks like, but it's cool that you can adjust those as well. So I found a way to resolve the issue with his head. So it turns out that when I had him sitting on the shelf, he was slowly starting to lean forward. And so the looseness wasn't just in his neck area, it was in these knees. So the lower leg and the upper leg can pull apart. There's a post that comes out of this piece, or maybe it's this one, and goes into a hole in here. So what I did is I took a small piece, a little cube of toilet tissue, and just wrapped it around that post, and then smushed it all back together. And when you do, that creates enough tension and takes up any space in there to make that a much tighter fit in the knee section. So I did it on both of those, and then on the head here, it's the same thing. There's a post that comes out and goes into the neck area, and just took a small piece of tissue, wrapped it around the post, and smushed it in there, and now you can see that his head stays perfectly level now. So that's perfect. Now you can still move his knees and head, but once you do that, it's going to start grinding up the tissue that's in there, and so I wouldn't recommend, I'm using this strictly as to display him just the way you see him. I'm not going to move him around or anything, because I think he looks really cool in this position, and that's the way you mostly see him anyway. But I found that to be a really good way to resolve that issue, and you don't have to do any kind of changes to the model itself. It works really good. So I am very, very pleased with this kit. Once again, I got this from a seller called Shat Prince, and Robin is the host or seller of that particular Etsy site, and she does a great job on these. The printing is really well done. The print lines are very minimal, and even so, when you put the weathering on it, it kind of adds to the weathering on it. I don't know, it was a higher quality print that I've seen in some models. So I will put a link in the description to her Etsy site. I'm not being sponsored by her or anything like that. I just bought this with my own money. I happened to find it and thought it was really cool. So if you want the plain version of this, like you saw here, it's $90, and she'll partially put the parts together. If you want to put everything together, just email her and she'll probably just send you the parts raw. I'm sure she'll do that for you. If you want her to paint it in this red and white configuration, it's $180, and she'll paint it all up and assemble it for you, if you don't want to go through all the hassle of doing it. And if you want a custom paint job, she'll charge $200 for that, but it's a complete, like, whatever you want, she'll do it. She said Challenger. She said Challenger, and she'll do whatever color scheme you want. And she has a few examples on her Etsy site that looks pretty darn good. There's some really cool, crazy looking ones on there, and you could really go to town with something like this. But I think BD-1 is so cute. He's just one of those really cool robots. So if you want one of those, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. But in the meantime, I'm very pleased with this kit, and it turned out really good. So thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you on the next one. So thank you very much, and have a good one.